Been really interested in this target in the brain called GCPII. This is an enzyme that exists in your brain, and it's known to regulate a transmitter called glutamate in your brain. And we have been trying to design inhibitors against this brain enzyme for the treatment of neurological diseases. We've come up with thousands of inhibitors. They're super potent and super selective, which is all good, but we've never been able to get them in the brain. And because of that, we've never been successful at developing a drug for neurological disease. So about 10 years ago, we gave up, which was sad. However, about 2 years after that, there was a publication that showed that this same enzyme, GCPII, turned out to be highly upregulated in patients that had IBD. And so we thought, okay, we have these drugs, they're super potent and super selective. We can't get them in the brain, but we can get them in the gut. That's a lot easier to target. And so I then teamed up with some folks from the GI department at Johns Hopkins who had models, preclinical models of IBD, and we tested some of our drugs, and they worked remarkably well. And so that was how I get started with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. I basically came to them with that data and said, this is really interesting. Would you be interested in funding us to try to identify a drug that could inhibit this target that we could clinically develop? And so that led to 2 grants with IBD Ventures. The first grant was to design a drug and make it, synthesize a drug. And that's where it led to the discovery of the drug called IBD 3540. And that's the drug that we're planning to take to the clinic. So that was IBD Venture funding number 1. Was the identification of that drug. IBD Venture funding number 2 for my lab was to characterize that drug in animal models of IBD, in toxicology, and pharmacokinetics, all the things one needs to do in order to move the drug to the clinic. And so that was the second grant we had from IBD Ventures. So now we have a drug that's well characterized and we're looking to move it into the clinic to test it in IBD patients. We would not have been able to develop these drugs without the financial support of IBD Ventures. They're the ones that helped us do the work to discover the drug. They're the ones that funded us to characterize the drug and get it ready for clinical trials. The second thing, though, is intellectual support. So I came into this without any IBD expertise. I did not, this is not where my expertise is. And so in addition to the financial support, the foundation helped me pick models. It helped me to figure out what questions we should be asking with these drugs. And then the third thing is connection. So the foundation connected my lab to all the IBD labs so that I could get expertise and insight into the experiments that we were doing, as well as connections for people that had biological samples that we could look at our GCPII in. And so it's financial, intellectual, and connection.